Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
We've talked a lot about smartphones and kids. And one thing I've said a couple times is how, in the grand scheme of things, cell phones are a relatively new phenomenon. Remember that. We don't have decades of data. Still, the research we do have strongly suggests this: the longer you can wait to get your kid a phone, the better. New study out of CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, found early adolescents who got phones at younger ages were more likely to have obesity, be depressed, and not get enough sleep. Look, it's tough. The general consensus is to wait until at least age 13, and if you can, maybe band together with parents in your kid's class. That'll make this whole process a lot easier. Once it is time to get them a phone, set some ground rules from the start, and let them know that you're always going to be there to help them and guide them should any thorny questions start to arise. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Plus tax tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand over book value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
Joe Standifer, Esquire, 11915 Plaza Drive, Suite 301, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, 29576.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile, smile.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Monticello Road near Winterwood Road, an accident has been reported. Things moving along fairly well across the Midlands, except in that area. Breezy and warm today, man. It's going to be very spring-like. 89 for the high. Cools down a little bit tomorrow. Rain and 70. 67 with sunshine on Friday. We'll be in the mid-70s for the weekend. And then it gets a little bit cooler next week, so we'll kind of soak all this in while we can. Right now, though, we are sitting at 58 on 107.5 The Game.
Early game. Yes! With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Tonight, South Carolina takes on Oklahoma in the SEC men's basketball tournament. Now, Lamont Paris coaching the game tonight, as he will be coaching the games next season. And there's a little bit of optimism for tonight, solely because you are playing a team that you did beat in the regular season. South Carolina and Oklahoma met early in the conference slate. That was all the way back on January 20th. Beat them 85-76 to get to 2-4 in SEC play, then ended up dropping 7 straight and then kind of derails the season after that. But you have proof of concept that you can beat them. You have proof of concept that you are playing better basketball. All right. You go on the road, you end your regular season, you win a game at Ole Miss. Can you at least carry over a little bit of momentum, a little bit of what you were able to harness in Oxford, and turn it into a postseason win of some sort? That's the big question here, Preston Thorne. And as a Gamecock lifer yourself, do you feel good about this matchup with Oklahoma?
I love how you put the clause at the end of the sentence. Do I feel good? Because I did not feel great coming off of the last conversation we had. But you said about this matchup with Oklahoma. And yeah, I do, actually. Now, there's not many other teams in the SEC that I would feel good playing against. But as you stated, they are in our neighborhood. They are highly gettable, and we've gotten them before. And we're coming off of a little bit of bit of momentum with the Michi win against Ole Miss. So I feel as good as I've maybe felt all year about the basketball team going into an SEC game.
And that's what at least gives us a little more intrigue. Now, if you had gone to Ole Miss and just got, smacked across the face, you probably wouldn't feel good about this. You'd probably at the point of like, let's just get this thing over with. But there are probably some Gamecock fans that do still feel that way. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you at least, just love watching Gamecock basketball, and we've had several people that have texted or called in, even in games like the Florida or Arkansas game where you did get blown out of the water, say that they either stayed up all,
mm-hmm.
late into the night to be able to watch the whole thing. And I certainly respect that level of loyalty. But this could give you a good feeling, because I think this is a very winnable game. Oklahoma's been really up and down. You've seen bad Oklahoma this year. They did start 1-9, I believe, in conference play. They've played a lot better as of late. They have wins against, in that little mini winning streak that they have to end the season. They have 2 wins against shoe-in tournament teams, which is going to be Missouri and Texas. Now, Missouri is maybe one of the more Jekyll and Hyde-ish teams in the SEC. Texas is the one where I really kind of like raised an eyebrow a little bit, like, oh, hey, like that's actually a pretty impressive win. But at the same time, this Oklahoma team is still very flawed. And I certainly can see weirdness happening in this game. Again, it is for us Eastern time zoners, the game is slated to start at 9:30. Again, I will reiterate, it is not going to start at 9:30. I know how these conference tournaments work. If it starts at 9:30, it's the biggest upset on planet Earth, mm-hmm. bigger than anything that we will see in any of these actual basketball games. So it will be a late game, primed for a little bit of weirdness. So I think that's kind of going to be baked into the equation. But I look at this Oklahoma team, and I look at how South Carolina's played throughout the season, try to take a little bit of what happened in the first game and see what can translate, what the biggest keys are. And this is kind of what I've got it boiled down to. One is just to run Nigel Pack off the three-point line. Nigel Pack is a three-point shooter and a three-point shooter only. If you want him to shoot anything other than threes, I am sorry. Now, he has taken 225 of those. He has taken 154 twos. He's only taken 46 free throws. I think that tells you about maybe his driving to the basket aggressiveness. Running him off the free throw line or three-point line is going to be mightily important in this game. You got a little bit lucky in the game at CLA earlier this year where he did go 0 for 7 from 3. Now, it wasn't complete luck because I would say there were a good handful of those shots that were genuinely contested, and they were good contested shots. But a couple of them he did have clean looks and just missed. You can't bank on him missing clean looks. You're going to have to find a way to run him off the three-point line and make him put the ball on the floor, which means aggressive closeouts, maybe top locking the action, meaning if he's going for a dribble handoff, playing on his outside shoulder, forcing him to have to cut backdoor and see if he ends up catching a pass in the lane, see if he can do anything with it. I could live with maybe him hitting some floaters or things in the lane. You don't want to end up looking at the box score tonight after the game and saying, oh, damn, Nigel Pack hit 8 threes. You got to run him off the line because that is clearly, I think, the biggest point of emphasis for Oklahoma's offense is getting that guy three-point looks. Oklahoma also has an incredibly low assist rate, Preston Thorne. I think the big thing is if you do what most Lamont Paris teams have done a pretty good job of since his time coaching here, and it's finding a way to chest the ball, stay in front of the ball, and be able to guard the ball one-on-one incredibly well, right? They don't generate a ton of points off of their passes. They have a sub 50% assist rate, which is below the top 250 in college basketball. They don't rely a lot on catch and shoots. Almost all of their catch and shoots are probably Nigel Pack threes or three-point jumpers. When they go into the lane, they're trying to do it off the dribble. Can you stay between ball and man well enough in this game to make them have to create open shots with their passes? That's a huge part in this game to me. And then, only because we've seen it a lot more in the last month and some change, Michi takeover time needs to last 40 minutes. And that man needs to get to the free throw line. He's second in SEC play in fouls drawn per 40 minutes. He is sixth in the SEC during SEC play this year at free throw rate. He needs to be as aggressive as possible. And knowing that this could very well be his last college basketball game, I expect him to be incredibly aggressive. Does he harness that and turn it into a lot of free throws? Does he harness that and turn it into a lot of opportunities at the basket? That is positive. If he doesn't harness it well and there's a little too much of a nervous energy because it could potentially be his last college basketball game and it results in turnovers or maybe some, off-target passes that don't create good shots, or maybe rushed attempts at the basket or rushed three-point attempts that might lead to bad field goal percentage, then it's a detriment. But I think it begins and ends on offense with how aggressive Michi's going to be tonight.
So you gave 2 defensive keys. You gave 1 offensive key. That being said, my whole thing this year has been Michi +1. Do you have a inkling of who the +1 might be tonight?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think if we are looking for a +1 in this, I think it's got to be Mike Sharpjumps.
Okay.
Mostly because he is your best matchup problem. He is a 6'9" guard who plays out on the wing. We see him when he wants to, when he's locked in and engaged, he's going to be able to get his shot off over, almost anybody. He's really good at attacking the basket when he's really engaged. I think you need to get maximum Mike tonight. And if you get maximum Mike to the tune of 15 to 16 points, then you're probably in really good shape. But this is maybe a game where I think he's probably at a good matchup advantage. Maybe more so than, I guess, other players on the floor. That is tonight. That is going to be, I believe, on SEC Network. I am double checking that right now. Yes, it is going to be on the SEC Network again, an estimated tip-off time of 9:30. But coming up next, there was a game played in Gamecock Athletics last night, and it was a not-so-chill result. We'll tell you exactly what happened and give you our thoughts on what it means for the future for Gamecock baseball next here on the Early Game.
Wow, what a play! The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today at qckinetics.com.
All right, guys, maybe you're feeling like you lost your edge, brain falls, has you struggling to focus. You're thinking it might be because we sprung the clocks forward and you're not getting enough sleep. That might be true, but also it might be low testosterone. And the folks at the Men's Clinic can help you with that. That's Dr. Dan Baltnight, who's a respected local physician. He'll get to the bottom of why you're feeling the way you're feeling. This isn't some nameless, faceless online clinic that you just give all your numbers to and they spit back information at you. No, Dr. Dan Baltnight delivers personally tailored treatment programs based on your labs and symptoms. And those labs and symptoms, they are absolutely free. Your initial consultation with Dr. Dan Baltnight is free. Get your T levels checked. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So call him at 803-875-MENS. That's 803-875-MENS. Or visit him at mensclinicsc.com.
Sponsored by SC Education Lottery. The Powerball jackpot for Wednesday is $58 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See sceducationlottery.com for jackpot odds and a store near you.
Some things are meant to be together. Perfect pairs. The combos we all know and love. Like beaches and sand in your toes. A good book and the park. Or sleepy mornings and Mickey D's. It's undeniable. My personal favorite pair to help me start the day? The toasty $2.69 sausage McMuffin with egg paired with a $2 any size iced coffee. With 20 grams of protein in one sandwich and bold coffee to power my day, there's no doubt I'd call it the perfect McDonald's match. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Plus tax tags entitled with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand over book value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Are you a small business owner, a church, or other entity in need of a new HVAC system? AAA Heating and Air has exciting news for you. AAA Heating and Air now offers financing to qualified organizations to aid them in installing a new light commercial HVAC system. It's as easy as calling 803-677-1500 for a quote or finding them online at callAAAtoday.com. Tell them Jay Phillips with 1075 sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Sponsored by Woodman Life, protecting hardworking families with life insurance.
Every hardworking American deserves to leave a legacy, regardless of their paycheck. We offer life insurance policies for a variety of budgets. Protect your family and your legacy. Get a quote at woodmanlife.org. Woodman Life is the brand name for Women of the World Life Insurance Society in Omaha, Nebraska. Ad number A0138.
There's a new kind of welcome waiting for you at the Haven Harley-Davidson, and right now is the perfect time to ride. For a limited time, get 0 down, 2.5% APR, and up to $2,500 in customer cash on the 2025 Road Glide, Street Glide, and Street Glide Ultra. For riders navigating a bit of transition right now, know there's always a place to land. If you're looking for a place that rides with you, supports you, and knows what your Harley means to you, the Haven Harley-Davidson would be honored to be part of your journey. Discover more at 866-768-5095 or thehavenharley.com.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 1075 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 1075 The Game app. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
I-77 northbound between exit 24 and 27. We have slow going. So again, heading northbound on I-77 between Highway 21 and Blythewood Road. Things are a little bit slow. Monticello Road near Winterwood Road, an accident there. 89, breezy and warm. That's what we'll enjoy today. Big change tomorrow. 70 for the high with some rain. 67 on Friday with some sunny skies. We hit mid-70s for the weekend, which will be great. But then we're going to be kind of playing with some 60s and 50s a little bit next week. Right now, though, 65 on 107.5 The Game.
The early game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Preston, Jen, you guys like Ronnie Millsap?
What did you say, sir?
Do you guys like Ronnie Millsap?
He's okay.
I will consider myself a Ronnie fan. And there is a song that he sang called Nobody Likes Sad Songs. And the whole chorus goes, nobody likes sad songs, songs about divides, songs about broken hearts and tears in your eyes. Nobody likes sad songs. But since you went away, it seems like sad songs are all I can play. And unfortunately for the baseball team, I don't know if we can enjoy a 5-0 season without it being followed up by yet another loss that makes us have to play more sad songs.
Willie Nelson told us sad songs and waltzes ain't selling this year. We're not doing that.
Elton John, sad song, Say So Much.
We could probably go on.
We can.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Elijah, they didn't follow. They came into the office. They yes-sir'd me. They looked me in the eye. They yes-sir'd me, as all good teenagers know how to do. They just said, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Made me think that they were listening. They were not listening. They did not finish their prescription. They left one pill in the bottle, and now it's all back.
Yeah, they certainly did. And
They've got
even
the
some of
crud.
even some of like the long-term medication that we have prescribed, right? Like before the season, my whole thing was don't walk batters. And there's a lot of things that we could get to in an 8-3 loss to the Citadel on the road, in which you had as many errors as hits. But we did get a text on the Firehouse Subs text line. It said, please announce how many walks we gave up in the morning. That was from last night. So I said, fear not. That is a big part of the story. So the official number, there's a good news and bad news thing here. Good news, you did strike out 11 batters. The bad news is you walked 9 of them.
Come on,
You gave up a walk per 9 innings. You give up 7 hits in the game. You give up 16 walks and hits in this game. Not good for the old whip, right? In terms of walks, hits per innings pitched. And walks are the big thing. That was kind of my biggest thing with this pitching staff to start the year, were the number of walks that you had, right? I can live with if somebody just gets a really good hit and they're able to put the ball in the outfield, they hit it where they ain't, and they're stringing together hits because they're a really good hitting team. You're just naturally going to face that, given the schedule that you play in the Southeastern Conference. You'll be playing some daunting lineups this year. That's not a fact that is foreign to anybody around here. But if you're just giving away free passes and you are making the mistakes on your own, you're only going to compound those problems. We saw it firsthand last year. We've seen it at times this year. And last night was another example as to what happens when you give up 9 free passes. And look, Logan Prisco's had some good innings. He pitched 1 inning and walked 3 in that inning. Cooper Parks pitched 2/3 of an inning. He walked 2 in those 2/3 of an inning. Zach Russell got a strikeout in the inning he pitched, but he also walked a batter, right? There's way too many lines like that. And when it comes down to just taking care of what you can take care of, controlling the controllables, I think 4 errors in the field and 9 walks are going to be a total non-starter every single time.
There should be no expectation to win games with those statistics on at any level. And here's the thing, Elijah, with any one of those statistics, if you made 4 errors, you should not expect to win.
Nope.
Period. Let's say you gave up no walks, but you made 4 errors, you shouldn't expect to win. Let's say you didn't have the errors, but you gave up the walks, you should not expect to win. Let's say you didn't do either one of those, and then you had the power numbers that the Citadel had against them, hitting, I believe they hit at least 2 home runs. You might not expect to win. And then here's the third one, which came out of nowhere, and it kind of made my heart smile a little bit, Elijah. The Citadel's playing small ball. 7 stolen bases.
Oh, I do love small ball.
And
I do love small ball.
And 2 bunts. So they're running you ragged all kinds of ways. They're bunting, they're stealing bases, they're hitting the ball out the park. By no form or fashion should you expect to win when a team executing and doing these types of things to you. So, yeah, this is a very discouraging loss because, again, you get into that situation where you're not just plugging one hole. There's several different things that go wrong at the same time, and there should really be no expectation to win if any one of those things happen.
It's a non-negotiable, man. I think those walks and errors are the ultimate baseball non-negotiables in any game. And that's what makes this so frustrating. Could you maybe have lived with if it was, we might keep using Queens as an example of where, they hit a lot of really good balls. Their defensive players were making incredible plays, and you got baseballed. But like we've mentioned before, you can only get baseballed so many times before the larger sample size suggests that you are just getting beat by these teams. And it's not just again, we've seen a lot of examples in college baseball this year where mid-majors are beating SEC teams, and we can count a lot of them, but we'll go back to the point of those teams have maybe earned the grace period, right? this team doesn't have that same level of trust with their fan base because of what we saw last year. And it's not just that it happened once or twice. Now the losses have mounted to Northern Kentucky, Army, Queens, and now the Citadel. It's not ideal. And in a few of those instances, it's you beating yourself or the bats not showing up too. Look, it's one thing to lose a game by just beating yourself by walking batters and, botching balls in the field. It's another thing too when your batting doesn't help complement anything and get you back into the game. Outside of Will Craddock, I will exempt Will Craddock from that, from the bats part, because he did hit 2 home runs. But outside those 2 home runs that Will Craddock hit, meaning the rest of the batters in the lineup, Preston Thorne accounted for only 2 hits in the game. 2.
Yeah. Not great at math, but that does not equal a very high percentage, average, whip, or any other fancy analytic that you want to run out for baseball. I imagine none of them are good.
Yeah, I'm not really good at math either. I have displayed that on this program a few times. When it comes to like quick mental math, I'm about as flawed as it could possibly be. But I can interpret some vague data and tell you that the conclusion is not good.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's all I need to know. I don't need much further analysis than that. That's good enough for me.
It's just a whole big level of not good. And I mean, it's really concerning now that you're going into SEC play. And I don't even want to broach the discussion of, did you look ahead to Florida or anything like that? It shouldn't matter. Like none of that should matter at all at this point. And I think one of the most discouraging thing is, you get Alex Philpott back, he's missed the season so far. He gets the start last night and doesn't make it out of the first inning.
Mm-hmm.
Strikes out a batter, walks a batter, gives up 2 earned runs, and only faces 5 batters on the night. And in those 2 runs he gave up, it was a bomb too, right? And that was a guy that you brought in the transfer portal with the expectation that he would be one of those power arms that you were looking for. And you can't tell me that the starting pitcher, the midweek starting pitcher for the Citadel, is more talented than anybody on your roster. They may be good, but in terms of raw talent, you are going to have an advantage against every one of these teams that you play, from the SoCon or the Big South or insert mid-major conference here. It's a contrast of 2 weeks. Last week you did what you needed to. Did you make some mistakes? Did you accomplish all the objectives, specific objectives of the game? No, but you won the games. You did what you were supposed to. Last night, not so much, and it is not a very encouraging sign going into the Florida series this weekend as they travel to Gainesville. They'll play that first one on Friday. But coming up next, something did happen in the National Basketball Association. Mr. Asia Wilson did something that you literally have to see to believe, and we're going to discuss that next here in the early game.
All my sports! The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
The blockbuster deal for Max Crosby is off. Crosby failed his physical and it caused the Ravens to back out of the trade, but everybody with knowledge says that the Ravens are the ones being weird here. And this is weird. The Ravens have long been viewed as this organization of such high class in the NFL. Not anymore. This is going to very negatively impact the Ravens' reputation moving forward, as it should of that day.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your knowledge to work on the events that matter to you. Prediction Markets isn't just sports. It's the Fed rate decision, your favorite award show, and so much more beyond the playing field. Trade events with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
This is the highlight of my morning.
Hey,
what's up? It's Island.
And I'm Josh.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit is that it's our go-to morning comfort.
And you've got that nice golden fluffy egg.
With a soft, flaky biscuit.
Crispy bacon.
Melty cheese.
You want something quick, you want something convenient, but most of all, you want something good.
There's no better way to start your morning.
There we go.
Start off the morning with a Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit with Simply Orange Juice. Order on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast Soft Chews, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, girl.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
Ever notice how your floors still look dirty, even after you mop?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Swiffer Power Mop gives you a deeper clean you can actually see.
I'm listening.
Unlike string mops, Swiffer Power Mop absorbs more dirt and locks it away, even in those hard-to-reach spots.
Like behind the toilet?
Exactly. The new micro scrubbers deliver thousands of tiny deep cleaning actions, so your floors look, smell, and feel clean.
Bye-bye, dirty floors. Hello, Swiffer Power Mop.
Try the Swiffer Power Mop. Love it or your money back.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast Soft Chews, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, girl.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
Ever notice how your floors still look dirty, even after you mop?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Swiffer Power Mop gives you a deeper clean you can actually see.
I'm listening.
Unlike string mops, Swiffer Power Mop absorbs more dirt and locks it away, even in those hard-to-reach spots.
Like behind the toilet?
Exactly. The new micro scrubbers deliver thousands of tiny deep cleaning actions, so your floors look, smell, and feel clean.
Bye-bye, dirty floors. Hello, Swiffer Power Mop.
Try the Swiffer Power Mop. Love it or your money back.
The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Now, if you are a real NBA sicko, you might have been watching this last night. If you're not a real NBA sicko, I don't blame you for not spending your Tuesday night watching the Miami Heat and the Washington Wizards. Shout out to our friend Walt, who texted on the Firehouse Subs text line a lot, who is a dedicated Wizards fan. He might have been watching. Yeah.
Again, Walt, my fault. I'm sorry. I still feel bad about that stray I threw at you, man. That's my fault.
I can only talk about Walt with pure reverence now because he is a dedicated Wizards fan. So Walt might have been watching this game last night, right? But if you weren't, then you might have missed this. If we can get cut 10, Jen Jensen.
82 points. Mama, we feel your joy. The second highest scoring game in NBA history.
That was the sound of Bam Adebayo, better known around here as Asia Wilson's boyfriend, scoring 83 points in an NBA game. Yes, you heard me correctly. 83 points. Now, if you want to give the shooting number breakdowns, he did take 43 shots from the field. He made 20 of them. It was 7 of 22 from 3. It was 36 of 43 at the free throw line. It got silly. I'm not going to lie. I definitely tuned in once he got to 70, Preston Thorne, and I can confirm it got really silly last night.
I caught a glimpse of this at 62, I believe. And I was like, whoa, Man, because Elijah, come on, man. This is not Bam's thing. Bam is a good player, but come on, this is not his thing.
It's almost as if like someone like Draymond Green did this, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Like Bam is a great facilitator for a big. He's a great rebounder. He's a really good defensive player, and he can score when he needs to. You know, he's not a stranger to like the occasional 30-point game.
He's a great basketball player as in totality, but never described as a scorer.
And last night, he ended up scoring 31 in the first quarter. I think that's when, they probably, first quarter buzzer sounds, and they walk back to the huddle, and they're all sitting down, and they realize they're playing the lowly Washington Wizards. And Eric Spoelstra, the head coach of the Miami Heat, probably sat everybody down and said, looks at Bam and goes, so Bam, how many do you want to go for tonight? He looks around again, guys, how many should we get Bam tonight? And I think they probably all reached that conclusion after the first quarter. Okay, let's let him cook. Because Preston, at the end of the game, the Washington Wizards were triple teaming him. The Heat were intentionally fouling the Wizards to get more possessions to try to get him more looks. The field goal percentage looked a lot worse because he was chucking them at the end. But then in the midst of being triple teamed every time, once he did catch the ball, the Wizards basically fouled him. I mean, it was impossible for them to triple team him once he got the ball without fouling him. And then it kept sending him to the line for more. It got really petty at the end, to the point where the Wizards were fouling any Miami Heat player that had the ball in their hand that wasn't Bam Adebayo. Like, they were determined not to let history happen on them last night, and it still did.
Because they're the Wizards. Sorry, Walt.
Wow.
Sorry, Walt.
So looking at the numbers, Wilt Chamberlain, of course, has the record for 100. Now Bam is in second. I saw that, because then Kobe Bryant's in third.
Yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, that's insane.
It's one of those wild things where, I never thought I would live to see the day that somebody replicated Kobe Bryant's 81. I never thought that would happen. That was one of those nights that I remember watching the game because ESPN News did a live look-in, and I was up late, unbeknownst to my mother, who would not have been thrilled that I was up late, watching that game, loving every second of it, and even at the time thinking this will never happen again.
And it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years.
Yeah, almost now. That was January 2006, so almost 20 years to the month.
Yep.
But not only did it happen again, guys, I would have got, if you gave me 100 guesses as to who would be the person to do it, I probably never would have landed on Bam Adebayo.
And not to be flippant, but again, if we said Asia scored 83 in her game, you'd be like, yeah, because she's a scorer. That's a thing that she does. Bam doesn't do this.
No, he doesn't. What makes it so funny? It's just like seeing Ichiro hit a 6 home run game. It's not what he does.
Kids are going to be so confused in the future. They're like, Wilt was a scorer. Kobe was a scorer. Obviously, Bam Adebayo was a scorer, right? And they'd be like, sit down, son. I have a lot to tell you about one random night in March.
It's like Derrick Henry catching 8 touchdown passes. Just not what he does.
Let me tell you about the night that Peyton Manning ran for 200 yards.
Yeah. See, because it's funny, because then you're like, A, wait, what? And B, it makes you want to watch the entire game just to be like, okay, well, how does that happen, right? There has to be some intentionality to this. And like, there certainly was. And I know people like to do, no one likes to enjoy anything anymore.
Of course.
No one likes to enjoy a damn thing in 2026. But for some good context, though, this is from @StatCenter. Said Wilt's 100-point game. Philly was letting New York Knicks score quickly in the fourth quarter. So no precedent here. Hour number 2 coming up next.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Sponsored by the Blood Connection.
Most assume that someone else will show up, but only 3% of the population donates blood. That's not enough. Make the call to give and save a life. Donate blood with The Blood Connection, your community blood center. Visit thebloodconnection.org to find a nearby donation center.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
I'm Jason Reynolds. You may wonder if you're better off hiring a big corporate law firm with hundreds of lawyers, or should you go local?
I'm Stephen Samuels. With the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, you get me, or Jason, or Michael, or David. You have your own lawyer who can go toe-to-toe with anybody from big law to big insurance.
Here's how you know. Call 803-779-4000. You won't get a robot. You'll get Abby or Andrea or one of our other wonderful people taking your call. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers.
Want to unlock the power of athlete marketing to grow your business? Garnet Trust has recently launched a business membership program, making it easier than ever for your business to work directly with a USC student athlete. Visit garnettrust.com today or call 803-250-1765 to see your business boom.
Plus, tax tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus, savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand over book value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215215. That's HIM to 215215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Paid for by Adaptive Health.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
In Gilbert Shore Road at Highway 378, there's a car versus deer incident, so be careful there. Monticello Road near Winterwood Road, an accident in progress, and working one Highway 302 at South Lake Drive. 89, breezy and warm. We'll enjoy that today. It's going to fall to 70 tomorrow and some rain in the forecast. 67 for Friday. Right now, though, it's a little bit overcast and it's 65.
Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Early Game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell.
Let's get it.
And Jen Jensen. On the Game Network and streaming on the 107.5 The Game app.
Hour number 2 of the Early Game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell, live in Nashville, Tennessee. Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, back at the home studios in Columbia, South Carolina. And man, already 1 hour through an action-packed show. There's still so much more to get to. I feel like we've only scratched the surface as to what has happened in sports this week, because in this segment, we'll react to the big news in the NFL last night. But before we do that, we will go out to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Our pal Ray has joined us this morning. Good morning, Ray. Welcome to the early game, my friend.
Good morning, Preston, Jen, Elijah. It must be nice to be in your old stomping grounds, huh?
It's not bad. Honestly, I'm doing the show from my best friend's apartment. We got to hang out last night and watch hoops. So we don't get to see each other very often. I'm getting lunch with my siblings later in the week. So it's nice to get to see a lot of people that I miss in my daily life. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Man, I tell you guys, I'd love to be able to call on this show, and I really would. I'm not a doom and gloom type of guy at all. I'd love to be able to call in and talk about how good our men's sports programs are. Man, I would love to talk about our baseball program, our basketball program, our football program, all that stuff. Really love to do it. But, guys, the thing that's really hit me hard, Preston, you know how sometimes you want to believe something isn't that way. It can't be. You want to be optimistic, but then reality kind of hits you hard. We don't have the money. I mean, either it's been mismanaged. I do think Ray made some bad decisions and contract extensions. I think Donati did come into a tough situation here with everything. But, man, the fact we are where we are and we don't have the money, I just don't know how the future – I mean, I hate to be that way. I hope somebody can make me feel better. But I really think it's gone to the point where a lot of the people have just thrown their heads up and say, man – what is going on here? I mean, where is our money going? And then I ride around the stadium this weekend, guys. I see all this construction at Williams-Brice, and I'm thinking this has got to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars once this is done. And I know they say they'll get their money back. That'll take a long time. But don't you think some of those funds could have bought us some baseball players? Maybe gotten Coach Perez 2 or 3 real good basketball players. Maybe a couple more offensive linemen. I really am questioning the powers that be over there and how they're managing the money. And it used to be Elijahman in this state. I think we've made great strides in education. Got a long ways to go, though. But back in the day, we used to say, thank God for Mississippi. Now Mississippi is saying, thank God for South Carolina because they're giving more money to basketball players. So I'm really at a point where where reality's hit me hard when it comes to finances. I'm down in the dumps about this because you don't have the money. You can't make it happen. Hey, guys, thanks for letting me rant.
Appreciate you, Ray. And I two things. One, South Carolina is doing great things in the education space, but there's this thing called the Mississippi Miracle. Look it up. Mississippi's reading now, folks. They are doing their thing down there. So a lot of folks that used to clown on Mississippi for education, the Mississippi Miracle is happening, and they are reading a lot, very well down there. So they're coming up. The other part is this, and this reminds me of a line from The Wire. You want it to be one way, but it's the other way. And that's where we are. You want it to be one thing, but it is sort of the other thing. And that's where Ray hints at a lot of the maybe the general malaise, I guess, that has engulfed the fan base now. Is like, man, feels like we were so close not too long ago, and now it feels like maybe we're further away than we've been in a long time.
Yeah, it certainly does. And a couple of things I wanted to get to with Ray. One, for the Mississippi thing, ironically enough, technically speaking, South Carolina, I had somebody tweet at me earlier in the weekend. I'm sorry, it's so buried in my notifications, I cannot give you proper accreditation, but if you're listening and you're the one who tweeted, you know who you are, and you're the man. It's a great tweet. So technically, South Carolina men's basketball, Mississippi State champs, because you are 3-0 against teams in Mississippi this year. You beat Southern Miss, State, and Ole Miss. So technically speaking, there is a banner, I guess, you can hang for Mississippi State champs. But when it comes to the stadium stuff and where the allocation of funds are, or just raise skepticism over the fact we have them. Two things. One, in terms of the funds, we will find out just how many or how deep, I guess, the funds are, because when you say you're going to allocate more money to men's basketball, that you're going to make the investments that you deem necessary to turn this thing around. Again, I mentioned in the first hour that you quadrupled your basketball spending from the offseason in 24-25 into 25-26. Quadrupled it. that was still not enough to get out of the last place slot in the SEC because everybody is investing more. If you say what you said yesterday in terms of retaining Lamont Paris, and instead of being at a smidge over $5 million for your roster building allocation, you throw in 2 more additional millions of dollars, and now you're at 7. If you're still last, that's probably proof you just don't have it the way everybody else has it, right? I think that's when we can start using context clues to say, okay, maybe you just don't have it at that point. And then I think there'd be a lot of credence to what Ray says. I think Ray's theory there will be either validated or kind of debunked depending on how much more they're able to give to it. And when it comes to the football stadium upgrade and the money that's being spent there, I understand certainly the feeling because, I mean, you drive by, you look, and you're like, that's very expensive. That's a pretty penny, right? I don't think our pal Melanie Lake, who won the $425 from the Crescent Construction Grand Slam giveaway, would be able to pay for that with her $425, right? I think you need a little more than $425. But there is some precedent for something like a stadium renovation working. I look here in the city that I'm sitting in right now, Nashville, with Vanderbilt. That stadium was the dump of all dumps. Trust me, someone who was here and covered games in that stadium, it was butt, as the kids would say. And they took a bunch of cranes to it. They took a bunch of wrecking balls to it. They completely transformed it. Again, before that stadium renovation, that stadium wasn't touched since 1984. That is how pretty much neglected it was. And it has helped bring in a lot more new revenue. And you've seen kind of the rise in Vanderbilt athletics, even in just the last 2 years, whether it be the football team winning 10 games this past year, whether it be the men's basketball team getting off to an incredibly hot start, and they're about to have back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, something that their men's basketball team hadn't done really since Kevin Stallings was coaching them. And even then, it wasn't as consistent, right? We'll see what Byington does in the next few years, but you've seen what they've done with their women's basketball program. Their baseball program is still top-notch. It is a rising athletic department, and I do firmly believe that the renovations to the stadium and the ability to attract in fans with deeper wallets does help in that regard. Right? It helped them there. Jeremiah Donati, when he was on with myself and Jay, when I was still doing, the post-game show with our boy Jay Phillips, he did mention that like the stadium upgrades at a place like TCU helped out a ton. And if you bring in that extra revenue, it does help to be able to reallocate that towards players. So like there's precedent for that to help out your athletic department. Maybe even if there is some short-term sting, and I think right now we're maybe feeling some of that short-term sting, but those are the 2 thoughts that I have, I guess, on Ray's call right there.
And so, as I said, last night I went to sleep, Bam had 60 points, and also Max Crosby was playing for the Raiders. And then I woke up this morning, and that's not true anymore. What is going on?
Oh, buddy. What's so funny in terms of that one, again, 2 things happened last night that you needed extra verification. You need like a mental 2-step verification to discover that it's real. So for that one, just to tell you where I was last night, my friend Matt and I, we went out to dinner. We're eating food, and he gets a screen grab from one of his buddies from some random app that says Max Crosby no longer a Raven, trade has been nixed. And I'm like, okay, well, until ESPN reports it, I don't believe that. No one fails the physical, right? Like, how rare is it that someone fails the physical, whether it's a blockbuster trade or a trade for a random player, that anybody fails the physical? I think the last time I remember this happening in pro sports was when the Lakers traded for Mark Williams. Was supposed to send Dalton Connect to the Hornets and supposed to send Mark Williams to LA, and Mark Williams failed the physical, so they nixed the trade. That was a role player trade. But in the biggest blockbuster trade in the NFL offseason, it ultimately did get confirmed about 30 minutes later that Max Crosby did indeed fail the physical. The Ravens found something in his checkup there that they did not like, and they nixed the trade, which they have the right to do because the trade couldn't possibly clear until 4:00 today when the new league year begins. One of the reasons why it's important for them to do it over the weekend, just in case something like this arose. And now no details have been released about what the Ravens found in the physical, But Preston, I have to imagine it was something incredibly alarming if they were going to turn down a guy who has the most pressures in the NFL over the last 3 or 4 years, even over someone like Myles Garrett, who just broke the single season sack record. I have a really hard time believing that it was just a small like nick or bump or bruise or anything like that. They had to have found something that was just so alarming that they turned down the chance to get one of the league's premier pass rushers for a team that couldn't get to the quarterback if their life depended on it.
That would be if you wholeheartedly believe everything that they say. And I am very sad to report that Preston has on his tinfoil hat.
Uh-oh.
I hate to do it. I don't want to be this guy, but I'm about to be this guy.
This morning.
Conspiracy theorist.
I don't want to be this guy, man, but let me just say this. If a team wants to find a reason to fail you on a physical for a football player, they can find it, right? Every football player has some pre-existing condition that needs work. And all I'm saying is, if they want to find it, they can find it. And if they don't want to find it, they can also not find it either. And I would just say that maybe Baltimore got word that there's another defensive end lurking around the corner. I don't know, Trey Hendrickson maybe, Cincinnati, that they can get as a free agent and maybe not have to give up these draft picks. That's all I'm saying. And I really do not like, because see, there was a time when conspiracies were fun. Like this. This is a fun conspiracy.
Right.
We've
frozen envelope in the draft lottery. Yeah.
Sports conspiracies are fun. Real world conspiracies, not fun. This is fun. And all I'm saying is, and I truly do believe this, is that if they want to, on any trade, at any time, if they wanted to fail you on a physical, kind of like your insurance people, like they could be like, oh yeah, you have a pre-existing condition. What is that? You had a cavity, and that's going to be a reason why your tooth is going to fall. You know, like they can find something if they want to.
That is fascinating.
And that's all I'm going to say.
It's fascinating because, well, if the Ravens were to have done that, I would have to need to talk with somebody in front office and be like, especially if it's Trey Hendrickson, who's the only free agent I can think of that would be worth doing something like this for.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Hendrickson's pretty good, but also here's the thing about Trey Hendrickson. He's not been a lot. He's not been very healthy. He missed half the season with an injury.
Somehow he's going to pass.
Somehow he'll pass. Now, if they sign Trey Hendrickson and he passes the physical after a guy who only played in 7 games last year, that would pay full credence to your theory. I think that would be the most validating thing to your theory humanly imaginable.
Otherwise, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It seems like, okay, something went wrong in this deal. And like you said, it all seems, all signs and sources indicate that the Ravens are the ones being weird about this.
The Ravens are, all the reports are saying it is the Ravens who allegedly found something in the physical that they did not feel comfortable with. And if we take them at their word for it, then it has to be something pretty serious.
And I will say this, the Ravens have been known to have one of the best front offices in the NFL. So if there is an NFL front office that you could trust and take them at their word, they have been excellent, bar none, for the time since they've been a franchise.
I only want to fuel your conspiracy theory now too, Preston. You know what the Ravens are also known for?
Mm-hmm.
Keeping draft picks and valuing them heavily.
I'm just saying, those dudes are good at using draft picks.
Buyer's remorse, maybe? Maybe they thought, oh, well, there may be other options. Maybe we didn't think through this as well as we probably could have.
Let's just put a pin on this and see where this comes back to.
Yes. We will most certainly be putting a pin on this one right here. But coming up next, though, it's the early game morning meeting. Let's hear from Lamont Paris himself. He spoke yesterday after getting that next year vote of confidence from Jeremiah. What does he think needs to happen for this program to be able to improve? We'll hear from him coming up next.
Network, Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Hey, it's that time again. Friday, April 3rd, the Spring Golf Classic at Charwood in West Columbia with our buddies Rock and Daniel Lucas. Once again, $400 for a team. And we have Saki's Morning Libations Bar before tee-off. Also, the classic onion sausage. Once again, presented by the Lexington Gamecock Club. Yeah, I know you're going to ask. We have the golf gun. Yes, we do. All that, Friday, April 3rd. Again, $400 a team, $100 for an individual. Very simple. Write down this phone number. number, 803-755-2000, and press number 2 for our buddies at Charwood. Again, 803-555-2000, press 2. April 3rd, it's the Spring Golf Classic from the Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. Got to know them pretty well when we had a flood in our kitchen, had to redo all of the cabinets, and it was not a fun time, but it sure was better working with them. Got the photorealistic rendering of our kitchen, and that was like a light at the end of the tunnel. You could see what the finished kitchen was going to look like. It was such a great experience that when it came time to doing a couple of bathrooms, we needed cabinetry. There was only one place to go, and that was CHW Cabinetry. But you can do things besides complete remodels to see what all they can do for you. I've mentioned before, maybe just put some drawers in your pantry. They can help you with that. Your closet, you're tired of the wire hanging racks. Maybe you want to get some drawers or some different things to make your closet more functional. They can help you with that as well. CHWCabinetry.com. Call them today at 803-520-6837. Tell them Jen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Plus tax tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand overbook value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
Get a free second pair of glasses with insurance at iMart Express. Now with an upgraded selection of over 150 frames to choose from. Pick one for when you're busy doing nothing, and one for when you're up for anything. Plus, with free same-day speed, go from booking an eye exam to walking out with new glasses in a blink. So you can take your vision benefits further, faster. iMart Express. Get glasses, go see.
Yo, this is Ray and Nathan with Pope Davis Tire Automotive.
Dad, why do the other tire places in town not like us?
They are just jelly about our lit prices.
Like the top 17-inch size for your Mommobile, $500 for a set of 4 out the door.
Or the top 20-inch truck size for $720 total, no cap.
You can even buy tires online at PopeDavisTire.com.
Why is my line just 6'7"?
6'7".
I don't get it.
PopeDavisTire.com.
Some things are meant to be together. Perfect pairs. The combos we all know and love. Like beaches and sand in your toes. A good book and the park. Or sleepy mornings and Mickey D's. It's undeniable. My personal favorite pair to help me start the day? The toasty $2.69 sausage McMuffin with egg paired with a $2 any size iced coffee. With 20 grams of protein in one sandwich and bold coffee to power my day, there's no doubt I'd call it the perfect McDonald's match. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Working an earlier slowdown, Highway 302 at South Lake Drive, that accident in progress. And Shore Road at Highway 378 in the Gilbert area, a car versus deer incident. 89, breezy and warm today. That's what we're looking forward to. Then some rain tomorrow, high of only 70. 67 for your Friday before we get back into the mid-70s for the weekend. Right now, though, 65 on 107.5 The Game.
Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Now, we've talked a lot about the news of the day, which is Lamont Paris announced that, no, he didn't announce, Jeremiah Donati announced that Lamont Paris will be returning as the head basketball coach for the Gamecock men's basketball team. And we've had our own thoughts about it. But it is time, I guess, for us to hear from Lamont and hear from you, the fan, because we will go out to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. But first, let's get this morning meeting started properly.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day. Let's go. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
And before we get to hearing from Coach Paris, we'll go out to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Adam is on the line with us this morning and wants to weigh in. Adam, good morning. Welcome back to the early game.
Good morning. Question, two things. Since we kept Lamont, do you think there's a chance we might fire the baseball coach because we're trying to save money for him? And second, we had to recruit better players in the portal, like no more role players, but players that are leader scorers. We need more better scorers for this basketball team. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the call, Adam. Yeah, man, I think there is some credence to that idea. You don't want to make two coaching changes, especially if one consists of a buyout north of $10 million. I do think that probably means, I don't want to say that means Paul's gone, but I do think that there is a better likelihood of that happening because of this. A guaranteer, not necessarily, but does that increase the likelihood? Yeah, I can certainly agree with that. And when it comes to the roster too, I think one thing Adam really hits on there is recruiting role players is great from the transfer portal. It's a great place to find good role players. And I don't want to use the term role players as some sort of diss, because it's not. Role players win you championships, but you do need a big time scorer. You do need somebody who can take over games, somebody who can be a player that is the ultimate, the ultimate force on the floor against whoever you're playing against. Even some of your teams that don't have maybe the deepest rosters have the best player on the floor, and that certainly helps. Texas Tech's a good example. Do they have really good role players? Absolutely. Did they have two dudes that are stars? Yeah. Now, JT Toppin's out for the year, but JT Toppin was an All-American. Christian Anderson as a point guard is an all Big 12 type player, one of the best point guards in a really good basketball league. And then they have a good cast of role players around them that are very vital to their success. And now that Toppin's gone down, those players have had to elevate their roles a little bit. But that's a good example, right? Texas Tech had a group of role players good enough to keep them in games. They also had one player that was the separator, and you got to find a separator.
And I would, and to add on to that, I would say, yes, you need to have role players to play the roles that they've played, not that they're playing a different role when you bring them into your organization.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll go back to AAA Heating Air phone lines one last time before we hear from Lamont. We'll get to Hank, who is on the line. We'll always love when Hank gives us a call. Good morning, Hank. Welcome to the early game.
Yeah. I agree with the last caller. But I think you got to, you'll hear some of Lamont's presser. You got to go get guys who willing and ready to compete in this league. Basketball is, different. So when you go and grab somebody from these other leagues, and they can have some good stats. The SEC, you got, as Coach Dale said, you got to have some dogs, and they got to be willing to, when it gets tough, get that dog in them. But one thing about the, I heard Ray's rant earlier this morning, and I'm going to kind of give the Carolina fan that wants to try to have an outlook for the spring that's not ready for when the players report in July. I saw the baseball team lost last night, and I saw it with Walt. Kind of remind you of the Kingston days when we would just walk a lot of people. And so they took that loss. And I knew Ray's call was coming this morning because I knew they were going to say out of the six games, they were going to win 5. And the minute they lost, people were going to have those calls on speed dial. It was almost like they're waiting for it. And so I think one of the things that I'd like for the baseball team this year going forward, and we'll see what happens, is to not continue to carry this team that has only like 3 or 4 returners, to not continue to carry the weight of last year's team and just be them. Because as the SEC season comes up, Florida got swept by High Point. And I'm sure they weren't happy about getting swept by High Point. That's 3 games. And you can switch the names, but it's the same caliber baseball team that they got beat by. But they're going to take SEC season and go in. So, if the team can go through the first couple weekends of the SEC season and, they're either winning series or, 1-2 on one series, 2-1 on one series, they're going to be in things, and nobody's going to remember, as far as the committee is concerned, down the way, these early games, because LSU, all of these teams have been having these clunkers. I know our baseball team doesn't get the grace of anyone because we want to say it's a continuation of the last season instead of this is a new season. But I hope our players will just get to that point, because I remember the most refreshing thing when Spurrier used to come here was when we were going after upsets. The lead up to those games, he would always say, "No, we don't have to play perfect." He said, "We have to play well, but we don't have to play perfect." He said, "When players run out trying to play perfect, a lot more of these those bad things happen." And he would say, "Now we can't play bad," and I think sometimes with our baseball team, when I look at them this year, some of these games they're dropping, they look like they're almost trying to play perfect, and they're not only playing the game, they're playing what's going to be said after the game and playing the team from last year's reputation. And so that's just my thought to help Ray out a little bit. So I'll hang up. Y'all guys have a good day.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Just put an arm around his shoulder and give him some good news. That's what the morning meeting's for.
That is, yeah. That's why we do this every morning, and I certainly appreciate that call from Hank there too. And I want to react to that, and we'll hear from Lamont. So we'll do that in the next segment. So coming up, we'll hear from Lamont. We'll hear about what went wrong this year and everything that needs to happen for improvement next season. Next on the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence. Gamecock fans, get ready for something new this season. Charleston now has a new station for Carolina sports talk. Dial in to 96.9 The Game on HD3. Head to 96.9 FM and on an HD radio, punch into HD Channel 3. You'll unleash live Carolina coverage you can listen to all day long. New on HD3. It's 96.9 The Game HD3, South Carolina's newest sports station.
I love to tell you about my friends over at Pro Swing. Look, it is a premier place to not just have a really good time, play some golf, scratch the golf itch with some of Pro Swing's indoor golf zone simulators, which are personally one of my favorite things to do when it comes to just having a good recreational activity. They got 2 locations, Chapin and Forest Acres, and they have simulators that you can rent by the hour. And the coolest thing too is the memberships you can get with Pro Swing. And if you get the memberships, there are plenty of perks, including discounts when it comes to participating in their seasonal leagues. 803-592-3916 is the number to call. You can always book online for your sessions at proswingcolumbia.com, where you can also find info about lesson packages that are available and take advantage of the free 30-minute swing evaluation. Again, 803-592-3916 or go to proswingcolumbia.com.
Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Bill Gunner here for Corley Pool Solutions. Pool season is upon us. That's right. It's time to make sure your pool is maintained and ready to use. And you know who is the absolute best in the Midlands? Tracy Corley and Corley Pool Solutions. With their flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals, you know exactly what you are paying for. So if you're tired of maintaining your pool by yourself, call the pros. Call Corley Pool Solutions. 803-445-8109. Line up your maintenance today.
You never know when a moment might become a memory. With same-day glasses on iMart Express and 2 pairs of single vision starting at under $40. Or 2 pairs of progressives for under $80. We're here to make sure you're ready anytime they do. From the most mundane Monday mornings to the most surprising Saturday nights. Get everyday savings for every moment. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Paid for by Adaptive Health.
Hendrick.
Why shop for a Chevy or GMC the way you always have? Shop the nation's #1 dealer group, Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. Buy now, but make no payments for 3 months. Experience the Hendrick difference.
With approved credit, see dealer for details.
Start your day with Drake C. Toll.
I'm Drake Toll, on the air from 6 a.m. to 9 Eastern, getting you to work every day. To do that with Westwood One, the Oxford University of Names in Sports Media. Buckle up.
Then Black and Abdallah.
That shot was insane.
Is that what you would say on the air?
You're the play-by-play guy.
Abdallah being testy. All right, here we go.
And Westwood One Sports Night.
Stay on the line, get on the call, talk about whatever you want. That's what we're doing on Westwood One Sports Night.
Westwood One Sports Talk. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Working an earlier slowdown, Highway 302 at South Lake Drive, and Car versus Deer, getting that all taken care of. Shore Road at 378 in the Gilbert area. 89 breezy and warm today, 70 tomorrow, but we could see increased chances of rain. And then sunny, 67 on your Friday. Right now, though, holding steady at 65.
Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Boy, Walt has weighed in. Our boy Walt on the Firehouse Subs text line has weighed in. First one, the funny, he goes, failing a physical, how about twice? Winner, Albert Hainsworth.
Yeah, well, okay.
And then he goes, losers, Washington Wizards with a facepalm emoji. Once again.
Shout out to Walt.
Walt, I regret to inform you, your Washington Wizards did technically make history last night. Just not the good kind. Oh, man. But in terms of history, Lamont Paris's tenure at South Carolina is not history. It will at least be extended for another season. And yesterday he spoke ahead of their first round game against Oklahoma in the SEC tournament, which again, we played tonight. But I wanted to play a little bit of what Lamont had to say and get his perspective on how things went wrong this year. And this is where we're going to start out with Cut 5, Jen. This is Lamont looking back on the season to discuss what went wrong.
Yeah, I think one thing is just, again, the overall competitive spirit on a nightly basis to play in this league gets challenged. And, I think that was a struggle for us at times. At times it was not. But having any consistency with that was part of it, particularly with our, just some of our bigger guys had some struggles that way. We didn't shoot the ball the way that I thought we would shoot the ball this year, and so that was part of it as well. But just being able to identify some guys early and to be able to get the entire group, because I think that, again, that's a big part, is how these pieces fit together with one another. And so as you find this piece, there's another guy that needs to have a certain skill set. And so just being able to attack those things in this offseason.
I want to address a couple of those things there from Lamont. The first thing is the inconsistent, I guess, competitive energy that he mentioned. Never a good place to start in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like hearing that. It reminds me kind of, it reminds me of that former Coastal Carolina coach. I'm trying to look up the name, David Bennett. Mm-hmm. David Bennett's rant of
local legend.
We don't need a bunch. Yes. Oh, local legend. That's right. Famously saying, we don't need a bunch of cats in here. Meow, looking in the mirror. We need more dogs.
I need dogs.
I need a dog. That's Lamont in a less humorous way, saying, we don't need a bunch of cats in here. Meow.
Mm-hmm.
Looking in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
That's Lamont saying, I need dogs. But that's also, a failure on his part too, because you are the one building the roster. I know it's really hard in the transfer portal era to be able to identify players who are going to give that to you on a nightly basis. You got to find that on film, right? Is that something you can find on film all the time? Maybe not necessarily, but ultimately that does fall back on you. And that's a total non-starter for your season. If you bring in guys that you don't think are going to give you that inconsistent energy and they haven't shown that in their previous stops, I don't know how much they're going to change when they just put on a new uniform and play in a different geographical location.
Exactly, and that's the whole point that Coach Bennett was trying to say, is that you can't, just because you put on a bunch of you put on a bunch of wristbands and you put on some cool shorts or you wear cool sneakers or whatever the case is, it doesn't change who you are. Wherever you go, there you are. It doesn't matter if you're at this school, this conference, that conference. You are who you are everywhere it is. And the coaching staff has to be able to identify that. You can see that in film. I can go back and watch your film and watch, let's say if we watch your team getting beat, how are you responding? How do you look on the bench? What is your body language? These are all things that were normal parts of the evaluation process. It's not even talking about in college. This is kind of like high school stuff. You know whether a kid is going to respond to pressure, how do kids respond to losing, how do they respond to tough coaching, what do they do when they're winning, what do they do when their shots not falling. This is all scouting. This is not a surprise to anybody if you are in the depths of what talent evaluation is. It's not just looking at spreadsheets, and this is where I get at the analytic dorks. It's not that you can just look at a number and say, oh, well, he shot 33% from the three-point line in the corner. Great. Well, what does he do when his team's down 15? Does he pack it in? I don't know. That's something that you need to be able to find out.
Yeah, and that's something that takes so much further evaluation, right? That takes a lot of research and talking to previous coaches, and it's hard in a short time frame. I understand to be able to get that in, but I'm going to quote, our boy Don Draper once again. That's what the money is for.
Correct.
Right? That's what the money is for. Finding that out is to be able to get that type of intel and decipher whether or not these players have that that dog in them, and that's maybe step one in finding what you need for next year.
Or maybe sorry to cut you off, but maybe as an evaluation piece, you need to move that up as in your priorities. Maybe this needs to be one of the first things you figure out before we pass anything else, before we even get to what your 3-point percentage is or anything else. Are you a competitor?
Right. Yeah.
And before we move past that, we got to answer that, and then we can move forward.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 1,000%. I think, if that wasn't number one on the priority list, maybe it should be, right? And maybe that's a total non-starter if they don't check that box immediately. The other thing too is shooting. We were told,
shoot the pee out the ball.
Yeah, that they can fill it up, and they haven't filled it up. And you look at some of the percentages of the players, on the roster right now, what they've been shooting this year compared to what they've maybe shot in their careers. Michi Johnson's shooting about the same 3-point percentage that he has for his career. Elijah Strong's taken almost 100 threes. He has shot worse this year by 9 percentage points. Kobe Knox has taken 70 threes. He is shooting worse than what his percentage was at South Florida. Mike Sharjomps this year has taken 80 threes. He is 2 percentage points better than what he was last year, but he is right at what his career average is overall. You look at somebody like Miles Studi, who's taken over 100 threes this year. He's at 31%. He is 36.6 for his career, but he's only 32% last year, so there's been a downward trend. That one, it sounds like it took him by surprise, but I don't think it should, based off of just the evidence we have of some of these players in their previous stops or previous seasons.
Exactly.
And that's where whatever they did in terms of their evaluation process and in terms of trying to field this team, like the money can help certain things. There's got to be a total wholesale change when it comes to just what your process looks like to build next year's team, or else we will run it back with the same results, but with a more expensive roster. And that is a nightmare scenario. We're already living in a bad scenario here for Gamecock men's basketball. But if you have the same process that's led you to failure and you do it again, but with a more expensive roster, it's just a more expensive failure. There needs to be some wholesale change in terms of how certain players are evaluated and then what you expect them to do once they actually get on campus. I'm sure a lot of folks this year who've been watching this team play looked at the TV and have been yelling, get on the line for a lot of these games this year. We're going to do that next. We'll continue to hear from Lamont in the third hour. We'll play a lot more of that and continue that discussion later on the show, but it's time to air out some grievances, and we will do that next here in the early game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network, Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today at qckinetics.com.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Sponsored by Robinhood. Learn more with Robinhood at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. It's one of those moments you remember where you were when you saw the news. The trade heard around the world is dead. The Raiders announced the blockbuster deal sending Max Crosby to Baltimore is canceled. The reversal comes after Crosby failed his physical in Baltimore, and appears the Ravens medical staff wasn't ready for Crosby. I'm Drake Toll.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Do you have sagging, soft, or bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Life matters. Cindy Casper tells of visiting their new home when she was a little girl. She was disappointed to see that there were no windows or doors, her bedroom had no walls, and the basement was clearly visible through gaps in the floor. She finally asked her mother why they would want to live in a house like that. Her laughing mother explained that it wasn't finished yet, and that she was sure Cindy would love the house when it was finished. Sure enough, progress began to happen and the house began to shape up. Floors were finished, then interior walls and windows and doors. In a matter of a few weeks, Cindy's nightmare house became her dream house. As Christians, we are a work in progress too. John the Apostle wrote, "Loved ones, we are not yet what we shall be, but we know that when Christ returns, we shall become just like him." This is Pastor Stephen Chitty from Christian Life. Remember, friends, life matters, and so do you.
Plus tax tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand over book value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
The early game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Man, hey, let's just go and get on the line right now, man.
My patience is running thin. You're all running out of time. You was late to my practice, sir? Everybody on the line.
Come on.
Oh, everybody on the line. It's time to air some grievances. And you know what, Preston Thorne? I couldn't find a perfect first example to use than anyone who can't just enjoy a moment for anything. For anything. Is there anything more quintessential 2026 than something historic happening and the first thing anyone wants to do is take a big dump on it?
It sounds par for the course.
And that's kind of where we're at. Frank Isola, notoriously grumpy New York sports writer, immediately did the Frank Isola thing.
Uh-huh.
But I found one tweet that I think perfectly encapsulates this. He's not alone in saying stuff like this or trying to discredit what happened last night with Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points. Yes, I can fully understand how silly the game got. Trust me, I watched it and I started laughing because of how silly it got. But also, when are we going to see anything like that again? But O'Shea Jackson Jr., you may know who his dad is.
I do.
We want to talk, Daddy Ball Special. His dad is Ice Cube for the uninitiated. Here's the tweet. Did they ever not have the lead? And then you give him the record for most free throws in a game? Y'all intentionally foul to manipulate the clock? And the ref's still giving y'all calls? Shout out to whoever got him in fantasy, but this bleep was a collective effort by the league to get Wilt's record tonight, and they just fell short. Adam Silver, you a wild MF. And I'm sure the MF does not stand for Monday to Friday. But Preston Thorne, The idea that the National Basketball Association would rig a game to get Wilt Chamberlain's record, and the player they chose to do it would be Bam Adebayo on a locally televised game on a random Tuesday night in the middle of March is hilarious. Not only is it patently absurd, it's really funny that that there's a belief that Adam Silver sitting in his office, he goes, you know what? We really need to make some headlines. We really need to try to break that Wilt Chamberlain record. Who's the perfect person to do it? Victor Wembanyama? No. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP? No. LeBron James, the guy who's been the face of the league for over 2 decades? No.
That would have been good.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to work either. Not enough pizzazz. Anthony Edwards, the exciting young face of the league? No, I don't think that's going to work either. I'm thinking more Bam Adebayo.
Mm-hmm. No bad ideas here.
To think that's probably how that went down is laughably absurd. Is so funny that it's stupid. And for that, O'Shea Jackson Jr. and anybody who can't just enjoy something for 5 minutes without trying to take a big dump on it and be the big party poopers,
get on the line. I like it. I like the idea. Well, you got to understand, O'Shea Jackson is from the native land of Kobe-stan, and he's a card-carrying citizen native of Kobe-stan. So that is one of his things. Baseball players, come here. No, not you, USC baseball players. Y'all are good for right now. I need the USA baseball players. Come on down. Ooh. USA baseball. This is our sport. You do not go to the World Baseball Classic and lose to Italy, of all teams.
Of course, a bunch of our potential players are playing for a bunch of our really good players.
Everybody all of a sudden has various heritages that they play for, but that's not what we're talking about now. Yeah. That's another issue that we can come back to later. So it gets weird. But for all of those that put on the red, white, and blue, you put on the stars and stripes. You were supposed to represent us, and you did not. In fact, Aaron Judge, you were up, bottom of the ninth, runner on, 2 outs. You gave the big speech in the locker room, and you struck out.
Yeah, that speech, I was really effective.
Couldn't even motivate yourself. For that being said, USA Baseball, get on the line. Also, really quickly, Bryce Harper, you got to run extra. You're normally my guy. You are normally my guy, Bryce. I really have enjoyed your career. I love your story. But you got up there and offered a lame excuse talking about, well, nobody really is paying attention to the World Baseball Classic. Wait till the Olympics come. Hey, Bryce, stop making excuses. Get on the line.
Get on the line. Oh, that's brutal. That's nasty work. That is nasty work. Nothing like losing a game you shouldn't lose to and say, well, nobody cares anyway.
Right. Yeah, okay. Now that you lost, nobody cares, right? I don't like that.
Yeah. I don't like that at all. What would you call that? Loser language.
that would be textbook loser language.
Oh, last one for me here too. SEC women's tournament. LSU's down, multiple possessions with 45 seconds left. You got to start fouling. You have 2 fouls to give. If you want any chance of winning this game, the only thing you can do is foul. Now, hope for a miracle is not a strategy. That's one of the hallmark slogans of this radio program. Is that hope is not a strategy. Mm-hmm. And we can do the she said thing of, like Kim Mulkey said she told the team to foul, and for some reason they didn't foul. But I'm not going to absolve her of blame too, because you're the coach. That message needs to be loud and clear. So, Coach Kim Mulkey, you come here too. I hope you got your running shoes on. Mm-hmm. I know you like to look fly on the sidelines, but I need you to put the running shoes on. I need you to get here on the line. I need all 5 players that were on the floor to also get on the line here and get ready, get your running shoes on, because there's only one thing you have to do in that situation. Even if the coach doesn't tell you, probably some mental thought here would tell you, you're down multiple possessions. You need to start fouling. So for that, get on the line. Oh, nasty work there in Greenville over the weekend. But 2 hours down, 1 more to go. We'll kick off the next hour, hearing more from Lamont Paris and, of course, breaking down the wild news, the Max Crosby trade next.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
You know who we never have to put on the line around here? My friends over at the Ecton Law Firm, because if you've put yourself on the line because of maybe some personal income tax issues or business tax issues that have forced you to get on the line, or the IRS has forced you to get on the line, Ecton Law Firm is here to alleviate that stress and to get you off the line and not have to run those sprints, so to speak. 803-771-9800 is the number to call to set up a free consultation, which is one of the perks of the Ecton Law Firm, is that you can set up that initial consultation to break down the issues at the source and be able to find out what the proper next steps are to alleviate that IRS stress. And because John Ecton and his team at the Ecton Law Firm have been doing this for so many years in the state of South Carolina, and they have helped hundreds, thousands of people in the area just like you escape those issues, they're perfectly qualified to give you that peace of mind. Again, 803-771-9800 is the number to call, or you can visit them at ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTONlawfirm.com.
Has grocery deals worth smiling about. This week, grab ground chuck, just $4.99 per pound, or shoulder roast, just $5.99 per pound with digital coupon. Sign up for Smile and Save rewards to unlock extra deals. Price is valid until Tuesday, March 17th, while supplies last.
Plus tax entitled with approved credit. Call 888-411-7640 for detail. March is a race against time at JT's Jeep Ram. JT is selling every single Jeep, regardless of profit or loss. Every credit application and offer accepted. JT's been challenged to sell 100 Jeeps, making deals the other dealers can't. New Jeeps up to $10,000 off. Grand Cherokees, Wranglers, Gladiators, even the all-new Jeep Cherokee with exclusive million-mile warranty. JT's Jeep Ram, 378 Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Declaration of Deal Sales Event.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Start your day with Drake C. Toll.
I'm Drake Toll, on the air from 6 a.m. to 9 Eastern, getting you to work every day. To do that with Westwood One, the Oxford University of Names in Sports Media. Buckle up.
Then Black and Abdallah.
That shot was insane.
Is that what you would say on the air?
You're the play-by-play guy.
Abdallah being testy. All right, here we go.
And Westwood One Sports Night.
Stay on the line, get on the call, talk about whatever you want. That's what we're doing on Westwood One Sports Night.
Westwood One Sports Talk. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Do you have sagging, softer, bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Still getting things taken care of. Highway 302 at South Lake Drive. Also Shore Road at Highway 378 out towards Gilbert. Breezy and warm, 89 is going to be the high today. Very nice. Some rain coming in tomorrow, 70 for the high, 67 on Friday. We'll stay mid-70s for the weekend, but then next week, we'll be kind of dipping back into the 60s and 50s a little bit. So kind of soak in some of this weather while we can. Right now, 66.
Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
The early game, third and long hour, starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She is Jen Jensen. I assume our man Randy Young is in the video production room over at Studio 803. And now this is truly the early game third and long hour because I am a long, long, long way away. Oh, you can see me on the TV. Look at that. Look at that. Look at modern technology. So even though I am 6.5 hours of a drive away, I am still in the room with Preston Thorne right now. Preston, this is amazing.
Man, technology blows my mind every day. Every day we do cooler and cooler things in here. So this is awesome. I feel like I'm really important now. I'm talking to somebody that's out on a remote location and I can see them and I can hear them. This is awesome.
That's right. That's right. I mean, that's why we call our man Randy Young the magician. We've been calling him that the entire time. We only know him around the building as the magician because he makes this type of stuff happen. So shout out to Randy for making this look sick on the YouTube stream at the Game TV radio for those who haven't subscribed just yet. But the big story of the day, Preston Thorne, is that Lamont Paris, maybe not a magician in terms of reappearing, or maybe it's reappearing for this year after 2 bad years back-to-back after making the NCAA tournament just a couple of years ago, is making his own reappearing act for next season. And he spoke a lot yesterday. We listened to a little bit of his thoughts on what went wrong this season. He mentioned, maybe an inconsistent energy, the shooting not being there with what he expected. But I want to get into this a little bit deeper too, because one of the things we mentioned, like when it comes to shooting, is that maybe it was an evaluation problem. Because there's not much variance in terms of how the players have shot this season from three-point range compared to what they've done in earlier stops or earlier seasons in their career. I think this season kind of just reflects the larger sample size from just a three-point shooting perspective. So is there a flaw in the evaluation? I believe this year showed that there was a flaw in the evaluation process. This will be cut 6 Gen. This was Lamont yesterday talking about some of the lessons that he learned about the evaluation process from this past offseason.
Yeah, I think in the evaluation process, and it becomes more challenging just because the window is so much smaller than what it used to be. I mean, I think back to my days as an assistant, and you recruited guys for 2 years, so you knew everything about them. You knew how they would respond for the most part in any given situation, and you don't always know that with this process of recruiting. It's such a short process, so there's some level of that, but you work really hard. You're making phone calls to try to connect with people that are connected to the prospect and trying to identify those characteristics. But there are still some challenges in it. There's also, a certain level of player that it kind of goes hand in hand, that you don't perform at that level without having some of these things already baked into what your game looks like. So, attracting some of those players. Again, I don't think you have 15 roster spots in men's basketball now. I don't think you can have 15 guys that want that to be their role and 15 guys that fit that bill. But I also don't think you can't have one also. I think you have to have some guys that's kind of baked into what they do. So I think some of those guys will be apparent as they put their names into the portal and as that recruiting process develops.
Now, a lot to unpack there, Preston Thorne, but I think one thing that he did mention is a lot of the stuff that we've talked about, especially when it comes to the roles that certain players played in previous stops, maybe going to be mirroring the roles that they're going to have to play there. It is going to be hard to ask somebody to maybe be a 15-point per game scorer if they weren't a 15-point per game scorer at their last stop. I mean, it seems pretty self-explanatory, but that's something that I think was kind of gotten to throughout the course of that club.
Yeah, and he also was alluding to the idea of, everybody when they're advancing, nobody's transferring to come in and be a role player. Everybody feels like they have delusions of grandeur, and when I go to the next place, that's where I'm really going to blow up, and that's where I'm really going to get in place because this system didn't work for me or this didn't work or reasons. And so it is more difficult to recruit somebody to your program saying, hey, I need you to be a strictly 3-and-D guy. And again, to quote Don Draper, that's what the money's going to be for. Right. I'm bringing you here to do this job. Not to do what you want to do, not to do what you thought you were going to be in high school, but this is what you are now. You're a rebounder. You're a glass eater. We need you to come here and do that for us. And then we're going to pay you accordingly, but we need you to get that done.
Yeah, the conversations might just have to change with the people that you bring in, whether it's an individual film study of saying, hey, look, we want you here. We want you here for a reason. These clips are the reason we want you here. We see you're doing this here in this game. We need you to do this for our offense, and we will pay you accordingly to be able to do this for our offense. Or defensively, like, look at how you recovered when, the guard here gets beat off the dribble and gets to the basket. Look at how you recovered over to help and block this shot. This is what we want. This is what we've been missing. This is what we need. Or look at how you crashed the glass on this play. Like, this is something you can already do. We just need you to do it for us, and we can just, especially if they're coming from a lower level, you can be able to say, hey, this is why we're going to give you a pay raise from where you were at last to do this very same thing for us. Because no matter how confident of a player you are, a player in the back of their mind, if they're asked to do something they've never done before, is always going to have at least maybe a little bit of a shadow of doubt. But if that has to change in the evaluation process where you are highlighting the reasons that they are there, because everybody, like, whether or not some coaches want to admit it, every player on the roster is there for a particular reason. And I think, if you're a Division I basketball coach in this era, it needs to be abundantly clear to the players in your locker room that you are here for a reason. And showing them why they're there, I find to be as equally as important as to the reason you actually brought them there, because then you create the buy-in. Maybe that is what can eliminate inconsistent energy on a nightly basis. I know some of those traits are innate in players. Either you got it or you don't. You were born with it or you were born without it. But when it comes to the traits of what you do on the floor, for a lot of these players that you bring in, those are very well established, and those habits are very well established. And you don't have the time to turn them into something that they're not.
Well, that happens at every single level. That's the same conversation. If these players have aspiration of going to the pros, that's the conversation that they are going to have. Yes, you might have scored 25 points in the SEC, but guess what? When you come here and play for the Washington Wizards on the worst team in the NBA, shout out to Walt, you're going to be a defensive stopper, right? Or you're going to be a rebound guy, or you're going to be a dude who eats minutes. Everybody, there's very few players who don't have that conversation. And those are only the highest to upper crust guys in any organization. Maybe I'm talking like the top 5%. Everybody else, they bring you in and say, hey, listen, I know you were great at this there, but we need you to do this here. And that's how you're going to get paid. And that's how the NBA is made. And so if we're going to move towards professionalization, let's go ahead and get this thing started and let them know, hey, we don't need you to do everything. We just need you to do this thing.
That's I love how you brought that up too, because there are perfect examples of how long it takes for certain players to grow into certain traits and certain roles. The difference between like college and pro is that the development needed for you to be able to do certain things to win in college is so much shorter, to the point where you might not have the luxury of time to turn a player into a really good three-point shooter. Like, for example, you ever heard of the man named Kevin Love in the NBA? Kevin Love turned into a three-point shooter pretty early in his career, but it still took 3 full seasons in the league. If you look at just 3-point attempts per game, it went from 0.2 to 1.8 to 2.9, then to 5.1, 5.1, 6.6, and it only gets higher till it eventually gets to 7 by the time he is, 8 or 9 years into the NBA. Three-point shooting was not what he was asked to do in college. But if he wanted to survive in the NBA and he wanted to roll at the professional level, that is what he was going to be forced to do. But if Ben Howland at UCLA says, okay, I have you here for a year, I can see you shoot pretty well in practice, but it's not consistent enough yet. Let's work on that during games. No, because you know what Ben Howland wanted as the current head coach at UCLA at the time? To get to a Final Four and keep his job, right? So asking him to do that throughout the course of one season at UCLA would have been really foolish. That further stuff is maybe for the professional levels to be able to have, because guess what? When they sign contracts with these teams, they're longer out, they have more time. And of course, in the professional ranks, basketball, to use the basketball example, you play significantly more games. It's not a 31 game regular season. It's an 82 game regular season. So that can develop more so because you're getting significantly more reps. That's something that the professionals have the luxury of getting to do, which is devote the time towards that development throughout the course of a very long season. In someone like Lamont Paris's position, you need the assistance and you need the help right now. So getting the guys who are going to play specific roles, you don't need a ramp-up period to get them into playing those roles. You need them to be able to do it once they get here.
Yeah, and they have to be able to do it now, and they have to accept that role and understand that this is why we brought you here, and this is the reason why you're going to be with us.
And that to me plays into like a larger thing. Like that's one part of the roster building. I wanted to get one more cut in here too. This will be cut 4, Jen. This is Lamont talking about this not just being an NIL and resource thing. There are so many more things that go into it. I highlighted it in the first segment. I'll highlight a little more here, but I wanted to hear from Lamont Paris about what more is going to go into this turnaround outside of just NIL resources.
Well, again, I think all of this isn't about just NIL. I think there are a lot of components to putting a team together. How do pieces fit together? What does a player play? The fashion and style of ball that you would like roles are important. There are a lot of things as we put our team together that we value. If you look at 2 years ago, I think those things came together incredibly well. You had role definition happened upon its own. I think the synergy that group had, and the want to play with one another, the want to win. So those things still are probably the main factors in determining what winning looks like. Again, I don't know at the top what that looks like, but there are limitations. If you don't have what it takes to get into the game, there certainly are limitations, but you still have to make sound decisions in terms of the DNA of what you want your team to look like, the overall roster construction, and how pieces fit together. I still think that is an incredibly important part of roster construction.
And I think he's certainly bringing up the same kind of elements that we talked about in terms of getting guys here for the roles that you want them to play, that have proven they can play that role. That's a really big part of it from just a roster building standpoint. Again, what he mentioned there kind of reflects in what Kentucky's done with the most expensive roster that can buy mid, right? Like that's the most mid roster maybe in the SEC, or mid-team in the SEC, and they spent a lot of money in doing so. The $22.5 million didn't buy them depth, and I think a large part of that is maybe just wasn't built to be put together in a way that is conducive to really good team basketball. I think that's kind of like the heart of what he was saying there. But I think outside of NIL stuff, there are more staff resources needed than just what they're doing with the roster.
And it just always can't come back. And again, listening to Lamont, listening to him talk, he reiterates the point that it just can't come back to money to be the end-all, be-all. Yes, you have to have a certain amount to be in the game, but at a certain point, you got to put something extra into it. You always say, like, you can't buy style, man. Like, you can buy all the clothes, you can buy the fanciest clothes, but somebody got to teach you how to put it on. And just having money doesn't necessarily make you stylish, or just having a big house doesn't mean it's a home. There's other things that have to happen, and so it's good to hear Lamont speaking to those things. Now they have to execute them.
Certainly, and there's so much more that goes into that, and we'll continue discussing this throughout the week. Again, they play tonight at approximately 9:30. I can assure you it's probably not going to start at 9:30 on the SEC network.
Really quickly, let's get you on the air right here. What time will this game tip off tonight?
Okay, we will tip off at 9:41.
Okay, mark it down. Let's see.
9:41. I'm going to write this on the sheet that I have here, and then we'll see how close I actually get to that estimation. Do I get a prize if I win? I don't know. We'll find out. But will I treat myself with another plate of nachos? Probably. I think that's probably what's on the line here. Or I'll just do it anyway if I lose to comfort myself. It's a win-win for your boy. But coming up next, though, we will revisit the biggest news in the NFL. Rocky, hold on. I know we had you call back in, but if you hold on through this break, we'll get to you on the other side of the AAA heating and air phone lines, because just when you thought, that the Ravens made the biggest trade in the NFL offseason, well, guess again, because something else came up and something else happened. We'll discuss coming up next year on the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
The Game phone lines at 803-404-6100. Sponsored by AAA Heating and Air. Now offering 12-month payment plans on all HVAC or electrical repairs with no credit check. Online at callAAAtoday.com. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Paid for by Adaptive Health.
This is the sound of Lucy, staying on top of her spending. You see, even though she's buying a new pair of jeans, she knows that it fits within her monthly budget. Because Wells Fargo will send an alert if her balance drops below her set amount. Yep, nothing gets past Lucy, or Wells Fargo for that matter. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Want to unlock the power of athlete marketing to grow your business? Garnet Trust has recently launched a business membership program, making it easier than ever for your business to work directly with a USC student athlete. Visit garnettrust.com today or call 803-250-1765 to see your business boom.
Don't miss out on this sweet deal from Grill Marks. Beginning this Friday at 9 a.m., visit 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals to get a $50 gift certificate to Grill Marks for just $25.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Hendrick. Why shop for a Chevy or GMC the way you always have when there's a better way? Shop the nation's #1 dealer group, Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. Thousands of car buyers across Columbia have switched to Hendrick for a larger selection, better pricing, and an easier buying experience. Plus, buy now but make no payments for 3 months. You don't have to shop the old way anymore. Experience the Hendrick difference. With approved credit, see dealer for details.
Are you a small business owner, a church, or other entity in need of a new HVAC system? AAA Heating and Air has exciting news for you. AAA Heating and Air now offers financing to qualified organizations to aid them in installing a new light commercial HVAC system. It's as easy as calling 803-677-1500 for a quote or finding them online at callAAAtoday.com. Tell them Jay Phillips with 1075 sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Still working the earlier accident, Highway 302 at South Lake Drive. That's the only accident we can reporting right now. Good news there. Breezy and warm, 89 for the high. Rain and 70 tomorrow. Some sunshine and 67 on Friday before we return to the mid-70s for the weekend. 66 currently on 107.5 The Game.
Early Game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Telling you, a lot happened in the world of sports last night, and if you just were away from your phone or a television, which good for you. Highly recommend doing that whenever you can. You might have missed it, that the trade that was announced this past Friday night with Max Crosby, all-pro defensive end for the Las Vegas Raiders, getting traded to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for a couple of first-round picks. That made a lot of news, and that probably made Ravens fans excited for, let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days until it was announced that the Ravens are backing out of the deal due to concerns they found at the physical, saying basically Max Crosby failed the physical. 803-404-6100, that's the AAA Heating and Air phone lines, and we know you have thoughts, and I know my man Rocky certainly has thoughts, and we will get to Rocky. Good morning, Rocky. Welcome to the early game, my friend.
Good morning, guys. And Preston, I'd like to tell you that great minds think alike, and you do have a great mind. However, mine is inching closer to assisted living more and more, so I won't say that, okay? But on the Crosby, when I saw that, and I really didn't get into the depth. Obviously, it's more in your wheelhouse. You were talking earlier this morning about teams can find a way to fail you on a physical in whatever way. If it's a cavity or not or something, I kind of chuckled when you said that. However, I do have your same hat, the same hat you're wearing on, because all I thought about in listening to national folks since the trade went down talking about that seemed that's kind of out of character for the Ravens organization. They're just not one to give up draft picks and that kind of thing, and just listen to that. So I started thinking this morning, I said, you know what, I bet they're second-guessing giving up those 2 number 1 draft picks. And that was kind of – so I'm with you, Preston, on the quote, air quotes, the conspiracy, that there may be more reasons. And that's kind of what I was thinking when I saw that. I said, oh, they just tried to find a way to get out of it because they second-guessed it. That's kind of my thoughts on it.
Appreciate your call, Rocky. Listen, again, you hate to be the guy that's always bringing up the what-ifs and the conspiracies, but what we know about the Ravens is that they are a very sound front office. They've been traditionally throughout history, and also, like you said, they don't really play the trading away picks games. They value their picks. They use their picks wisely. That's why they've been so successful over this time. And maybe they might have got a little out ahead of their skis and got a little bit too excited and got out of character, and now they're having a little bit of remorse a couple days later and trying to figure out a way to get out of this. And I think the equivalent I tried to bring up, Elijah, is like if you've ever rented an apartment trying to get your deposit back, and it's like, man, they're like, nope, look at that little stain you had right there on the carpet. We can see it. You're not going to get your deposit back. And it's like, come on, man. If they want to give you the deposit, they can. If they don't want to, they probably can find a reason why.
That is a painfully accurate analogy, I am afraid. Painfully accurate when it comes to moving out of a place. Oh, God. Yeah, that one hurts a little bit. But there's a lot of credence to that, too. I think we're getting more evidence of that. We'll go to the Firehouse Subs text line. Richard texted in and said Max only had torn meniscus. Ravens decided they didn't want to give up all the draft capital. Trey Hendrickson is out there. And there is a lot of interesting thought to that, too, because of who the Ravens are. And I think because of what or how they have operated over the last 20 years or so. I mean, it's no lie, they like to work the draft. They like to trade draft picks for more draft capital. They like getting a lot of bites at the apple. They take a lot of pride in drafting players and developing them. That's always been, no matter who the GM is, whether Ozzie Newsome, whoever, like their MO has been drafting players, developing. That is their preferred method of roster building. But if we want more, I guess, maybe evidence to the theory, right? Press, you ready for maybe a little more evidence? You can take this as evidence because Adam Schefter did tweet this, because Adam Schefter did talk to Crosby's knee surgeon, Dr. Neil Elatrash, I think. Elatrash? I definitely botched that last name, so sorry, doctor. Dr. Neil is what I'll just call him. And he said, quote, Max Crosby is doing very well in the early part of his rehab and recovery from surgery to treat a significant meniscus tear and the related stress injury to the bone and cartilage in his knee. He is certainly on track in his planned program. He feels very well and is already much improved compared to before surgery. We truly respect the work of the Ravens staff with Max regarding the contract physical exam. We also understand the challenge the staff faces when tasked to provide a future risk assessment based on an evaluation early in the recovery process. This is especially challenging when dealing with an elite player like Max, considering the level of commitment necessary for a team to obtain him. The timing of his assessment is unfortunate because the apparent risk will lessen as his recovery progresses and his return to performance over the next few months becomes clear. At this point, Max is doing an excellent job attacking his rehab, and his knee is responding very well. We look forward to Max returning to his elite level of performance this season as planned and for several more to come, end quote. So per Max Crosby's knee surgeon, Preston Thorne, he says that maybe we're just evaluating this at the worst possible time, but the condition will improve as time goes on, and I can't imagine there's too much disagreement between medical staffs there. I could be wrong. I am not a doctor myself. We just like to play one on the radio when prescribing medicines for struggling athletic teams. But in this instance right here, if you are on the train of the Ravens really aren't that concerned, they just have cold feet over the trade, I think the quote from Dr. Neil there might give us a little bit of ammo to use for that school of thought.
Yeah, and again, it's not to say that they're not concerned, but I guess what I'm saying is if there weren't other options or if they hadn't paid such a steep price as he indicated, then they would be willing to maybe let some things ride. I'm not comparing players to assets, full stop. However, my car drives with a permanent check engine light on. It's okay. I got it. It's mine. I wouldn't buy a car with a permanent check engine light on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I wouldn't do that because I'd be like, hey, what's going on here? This car, I know. I understand why this one is on, but I wouldn't buy a car that, if you get in my car right now, there's a lot of lights on the dashboard. You're like, whoa. I'm like, nah, man, it's cool. It's all good. We know what's going on here. I wouldn't buy that car with all those lights going on because I don't know what the issues are.
Right, especially if you haven't test driven it, right? Yeah, you're just like, oh my God, the car's telling me this thing is undrivable. But you're like, no, trust me, it runs just fine. There's probably an issue somewhere, but it's nothing detrimental to how the actual car runs.
Yeah, and again, if I was selling your car, I'd be like, nah, man, it's no problem. Yes, there's a check engine light on. Yes, the vehicle stability light is on. Yes, there's a air pressure pump on. No problem. It runs smooth. Don't worry about it. Trust me. You'd be like, I don't know about that, man.
Hey, you do you. As long as you're driving and maybe I'm not riding in the passenger seat, your prerogative on that one right there. Now, I don't know what the physical process will be for Tua Tagovailoa going to the Atlanta Falcons because he certainly has his own injury history. But in part 2 of the early game, Third and Long Hour Goes Deep, we'll discuss the drafting of Tua Tagovailoa, some of the issues he had with the Miami Dolphins, and whether or not we should have seen that part coming. We'll discuss that next here in the early game.
Wow, what a play! The Game Network, Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Friday, April 3rd, the Spring Golf Classic at Charwood in West Columbia with our buddies Rock and Daniel Lucas. And we have Saki's Morning Libations Bar before tee-off. Also, the classic onion sausage presented by the Lexington Gamecock Club. Yeah, I know you're going to ask. We have the golf gun. All that Friday, April 3rd. Again, $400 a team, $100 for an individual. 803-755-2000 and press number 2. April 3rd. It's the Spring Golf Classic from the Game.
Preston here for our friends at Cato's Power Equipment. Cato's Power Equipment has been family owned and serving the Midlands since 1983. That's over 40 years. 83. That's how many points Bam Adebayo had last night. Can you imagine? Anyway, third generation owner Ben Cato provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom-and-pop values that you love. And Ben is determined to raise the standard of sales, service, and retail. At Cato's, they're proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. So if you're ready to invest in something new, the friendly team is there to make the process easy, help you choose the right equipment, find financing options, and keep your gear running strong. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned landscaping pro, Cato's has you covered. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today or call them at 803-254-3711. That's 803-254-3711.
Sponsored by Mattress Firm. Having trouble sleeping? Visit Mattress Firm during the Upgrade Your Sleep sale. Their sleep experts will help find your perfect bed from a premium selection of top brands. They make sleep easy.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law.
Joe Standifer, Esquire, 11915 Plaza Drive, Suite 301, Burroughs Inlet, South Carolina, 29576.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Paid for by Adaptive Health.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Plus tax and title with approved credit. Call 888-411-7640 for details. March is a race against time at JT's Jeep Ram. JT is selling every single Ram regardless of profit or loss. Every credit application and offer accepted. JT's been challenged to sell 150 Rams, making deals the other dealers can't. New Rams, light duty, heavy duty, up to $15,000 off with 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. JT's Jeep Ram, 378 Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Ram Truck Month.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Still just working that one accident out there, Highway 302 at South Lake Drive, but typical slowdown on I-26 as you approach I-20 there on I-26 eastbound. And your forecast, it's looking absolutely beautiful. Breezy, warm today, 88 for the high. Now, we are going to see some rain tomorrow, a high of 70, but then sunshine returns for Friday and a high of 67. Right now, it's warming up a little bit, 66 on 107.5 The Game.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
And long hour goes deep. And this week we're doing the rise and fall of Tua Tagovailoa, and this is part 2. Part 1 yesterday. If you missed it, you can find it on our YouTube page at the Game TV radio, where we talked about his college career and how decorated and statistically his college career was, what the lore of what he was at Alabama, and the gravity of him to make it to where he was looked at as such maybe a can't-miss prospect that teams were tanking to be able to make him their starting quarterback and maybe their franchise quarterback for the future. But today, we'll go to the drafting of Tua Tagovailoa, because knowing what we know now, we might look back on that draft, Preston Thorne, a little bit differently. How did we feel initially about his fit with the Miami Dolphins, and was taking Justin Herbert over him justified in hindsight? Were there any signs that he was injury prone to where we ultimately ended up seeing what we saw? The first thing I want to do, though, Preston, with this is that I want to kind of look at that draft in its totality, right? Joe Burrow went number 1 to Cincinnati, Chase Young to Washington at number 2, Jeff Okudah at number 3 to Detroit, Andrew Thomas at number 4 to New York, the Giants, that is. And I misspoke earlier. Tua was taken before Justin Herbert. So Tua at 5, Justin Herbert at 6 to the Chargers. That was how the kind of that first 6 rolled out. If you were a team like the Miami Dolphins, again, knowing what we know now, was taking Tua Tagovailoa the right thing in that situation as opposed to maybe a Justin Herbert if we try to put ourselves back in that 2020 mindset?
You can always go hindsight's 2020. Not even a pun intended there. You can always do that with any draft picks. There were some possible maybe yellow lights. I won't say red flags, but yellow lights when you're going to take Tua. You had the hip, which to me, if I'm talking about somebody having an injury, if you're talking hip, that never sounds like it's going to get better. But he hasn't really struggled with that in the league. So you had the hip injury that he had at Alabama, which kind of led him out to a couple games. But then just the physical traits, you're still trying to, left-handed quarterback bias aside, prejudice aside, you're still trying to figure out, like, can a little guy play quarterback? And we keep trying to find exceptions to the rule, Drew Brees being one. We're still trying to really figure out if we've answered this question yet, and I'm not convinced that we've answered that question yet.
Right. If you just compare his size to the other 2 quarterbacks taken in that top 6, Joe Burrow at 6'4", 215. You look at Justin Herbert, 6'6", 236. Like, Justin Herbert has the size of an NBA small forward. Those 2 guys have totally different prototypes. And I think the Herbert one's so fascinating because Joe Burrow, I thought, was the obvious number 1, even at the time, right? At the time, I can still tell you that I thought, healthier quarterback, had a better season. And even though Tua was great that year before the injury, Joe Burrow was just better. That was historic. I don't think we'll ever see a college football quarterback throw 60 touchdown passes in a season ever again. Even if we end up expanding the college football playoff and we get an extra week or 2 of games, I still don't think we're going to have somebody get to 60. That will maybe go down as one of the more unbreakable records in college football. But you look at what he did there, I think taking Joe Burrow number 1, right move there. I was one, though, that firmly believed that Tua Tagovailoa was the right call over Justin Herbert at the time, and I didn't really care about the whole size thing because, like you mentioned, a lot of people were trying to find the exceptions to the rule. You know, Drew Brees being one of them. I'm somebody who watched Drew Brees play every Sunday for like a 15-year stretch in my life. So, I mean, I was one of those. Don't tell me somebody that size can't play quarterback in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. Maybe I underestimated how much better you have to be at that much of a size disadvantage.
Yeah, but I think what a lot of times what you might be doing is underestimating how good Drew Brees actually was.
Yes, which hard for me even to do, right? Again, I've watched him religiously for his entire career in New Orleans, and expecting somebody to beat Drew Brees is a pretty tall task. You're drafting somebody then with the expectation that they are a Hall of Famer. But I thought so highly of Tua that I figured, you know, if he could do what he did in the SEC, if he could be as efficient of a quarterback, avoiding a lot of the mistakes, doing what needed to be done, and even, you know, entrusting or getting, you know, Nick Saban to entrust in him the ability to come back in the fourth quarter of a national championship game when he was just 18 years old and bench a guy in Jalen Hurts, who then went on that same year, that later in his career, the same year that, you know, Joe Burrow and LSU won the national title, took Oklahoma to a 4-team college football playoff and was a Heisman finalist. So it turned out Jalen Hurts still could sling it a little bit. The fact that that was still something that was made, that was still a decision that was made, and that was Nick Saban's evaluation, told me that, like, yeah, this guy surely is able to play. I think the one thing I mostly underestimated, outside of maybe the impact of his size, was the hip injury. Because I think physically we have not seen the Tua Tagovailoa that we saw in college, despite some of the good years he's had in the NFL, because it hasn't been all bad.
Well, the thing about the hip injury is this, is that it's not that Tua was necessarily a dual threat guy, but he did have some mobility. And when you get that hip injury, that makes him a sitting duck in the pocket, which leads to the other injuries, which the sacks and concussions and things of that nature. So it's sort of something that builds on itself. And because he's has a more slight frame and is a smaller guy, you don't want him to have to sit in the pocket and have to take on some of those hits that he's had to take on because he lacks the mobility that he once had.
For you, Preston Thorne, when you think back on that draft and your feelings on those players, specifically the quarterbacks, how much, or what was the thing I guess maybe you underestimated the most about translation from college to the NFL? Because I was so iffy on Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert still has a lot to prove, but I think Justin Herbert is certainly better than I thought he would be at the time.
He's better than he thought he would be. He's getting to the point now where he's going to have to, you know, do it or get off the pot, I assume, you know, because he's kind of figuring out what's up with Justin. I think the thing that is very difficult to translate from college to the league, and this is sort of goes back to the conversation we talked about with Lamont, is what is that leadership capacity going to look like? Joe Burrow obviously had it in college. You know, the picture of Joe Burrow in the locker smoking that cigar, it's like, oh man, that's the guy. That's him. I want to follow that guy. Tua was never able to make that leap, and there were some organizational issues also, but I don't think he's ever been able to make that leap to being the guy that the locker room needed.
Certainly, and that's the thing that we're going to dive on in tomorrow's episode, the injuries and the leadership concerns, because as much success as Tua Tagovailoa did have in Miami, it's not like the Dolphins have made the playoffs a ton since 2000. Only a handful of times. So you can count on one hand how many times they have made the playoffs since the year of our Lord 2000. There were some successes, but there were some injuries and there were some leadership failures that caused us to be in the position we are today. We'll tackle that tomorrow for the early game third and long hour goes deep. But coming up next, though, there are plenty of winners on the morning after a wild night in sports. We'll give you our winners from that and today's show, all coming up next here on the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
You know, I'm tasked with recording 3 of the biggest story minutes every day. Usually there are 3 different stories, but throw that out the window. The most stunning reversal in NFL trade history. The blockbuster is over. Matt Crosby to Baltimore is off. Reports indicating the Ravens backed out after Crosby reportedly failed his physical. I'm Drake Toll.
You know that Chick-fil-A sells more than chicken, right?
Hello, my name is Jaleesa, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit is how it's all of my favorite breakfast items in one good bite. That fluffy egg, that melty cheese with that perfectly grilled sausage. It just gives you that warmth, that comfort food that you love. It is the best possible option for a classic breakfast.
Comfort is calling. Order a Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit with Simply Orange Juice on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Spring deals are popping up early at Lowe's. Right now, get 4 bags of Stay Green 2 cubic foot mulch for just $10. Plus, save $20 on an Ego 56-volt string trimmer, now just $199. Spring starts better when you save early. Don't miss out. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 3/18. Mulch offer excludes Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Rain-X wipers are the #1 wiper blades in America. That means all kinds of drivers choose Rain-X. Big drivers in small cars choose Rain-X. Small drivers in big cars choose Rain-X. Drivers with long hair and short commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with short hair and long commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with pets on board, babies on board, and bored babies on board choose Rain-X. Basically, drivers who love a clear view of the road all choose Rain-X wipers, the #1 wiper blades in America.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
More about them than it is about the team. Cannot play with it. Cannot win with it. Cannot coach with it. Can't do it. I want winners. Winners.
Coach Singletary. We got your winners. And every day, our winners are brought to you by the Golden Spur. And this may be a banner morning for the winners segment, Preston Thorne, because there are so many different ways to go to. But I want to start off one from the show that came organically, and that was the Mississippi Miracle. You taught me something today. I did not know about the improvements in Mississippi education. Education is a topic very important to me, as I know it is for you too. Did not realize that they are turning some things around over there in Mississippi, in a state that's got plenty of its own issues. I am always cool to celebrate at least one state's commitment to public education.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of really cool things, and I would be remiss to say if South Carolina's not following behind and doing a lot of those same cool things. It all goes back to, what do you know? working on fundamentals, practicing the basics, emphasizing all the little things. Some of the same things you hear about sports, Elijah. Maybe it's not all about scheme, and maybe it is about the fundamentals. But that's another topic for another day. But, yeah, shout out to Mississippi, the Mississippi Miracle. Very interesting read if you're interested in hearing what they got going on down there. I'm going to give a shout-out to Power Couples.
Oh,
they don't have a name. I'm looking for a name. They don't have one. But Elijah, last night, Bam Adebayo became the NBA's active leading scorer, having the most points in a game actively. Do you know who the WNBA's most points in the game scorer is?
Please tell me that's Asia Wilson.
It is Asia Wilson. That is correct. Bam scored 83. Asia Wilson with the record of 53 points in the game. So the power couple, love and basketball is real. And so it is really cool to see those two thriving. And Asia was at the game last night. She was at the press conference. Very, very much present in the game right now. So shout out to the power couple.
I love that. And maybe there are a lot of contenders for tweet of the day. This comes from someone named Franklin Leonard. And Franklin Leonard tweets, prayers up for whoever has to guard Asia this season whenever she decides she doesn't want Bam to have the family record anymore. It's going to be a long day for you. I'm sorry.
And again, as I stated, it's not a surprise that Asia holds the record for most points in the game because she's a scorer. That's what she does.
Yes.
Bam, not his bag, man. So this is really fascinating to see that he got there last night.
I think you really hit the nail on the head when you said it's like Peyton Manning rushing for 200 yards in a game. Or like 300, like a record-breaking amount of rushing yards, right?
Yeah, it's like, but here's the thing. Bam is known for being an overall great player as a basketball player. He's awesome. He's everything you want in a team. And so it's really fascinating that. Winner. Dr. Guy who did my knee surgery, Dr. Guy who does many of the surgeries in this area, always a winner. Being that doctors are in the news, having to clear physicals, check physicals, read charts, answer statements. Any doctors in the sports medicine field, you're a winner.
That's a good one right there. Yeah. A lot of work that goes unnoticed by people. Your favorite athlete has probably had a surgery at some point in their life, and the success of that surgeon is the reason they were able to get back out there. So always shout out to our orthopedic surgeons out there. Another winner, ticket stubs. Because another contender for tweet of the day, Preston Thorne, this comes from one of my favorite comedians, Roy Wood Jr. tweets, can't even keep let me give some more context. He tweets by quoting the NBA's tweet about 83 points from Bam Adebayo, and he goes, can't even keep the ticket stub from nights like this anymore. All this electronic ticketing, got to go home and print a damn QR code. There's a lost art for this.
Son, let me show you the screenshot of the game that I was at. It's a screenshot of the ticket that I took on Ticketmaster. Oh, no, I can't get into Ticketmaster because I forgot my password. Again.
I need to go into my 10-step verification to be able to log into my account.
The Ticketmaster one always gets me because I'm always trying to get into a venue, so I'm rushed, and now I have to remake a password. Now I can't remember the password that I made. It is always the one that it's like, hey, man, can I just have a ticket, please?
That's why you got to add it to the Apple Wallet.
I've heard.
Yeah.
And actually, I've been scolded about this by my better half. And yes, you're right. Especially, imagine the pressure I feel when we're trying to go into the show. She's like, if you would have just added to the Apple Wallet, it'd be. I'm like, not right now. I don't need that.
Now is not the time. Now is not the time. The time is for me to be panicking and having the panic sweats because I can't remember my password.
Oh, no. You put the password in wrong 3 times. Now it's going to lock you out for the next five attempts. Oh, my God. I can't get in the concert.
We're next up in line at the gate. I need this ticket. Oh, nightmare scenario right there. Oh, that's brutal. But, it is a lost art, though, just having, ticket stubs for things. Because I still, at my dad's house, from all of the sporting events I went to when I was young, back when they were still making paper tickets for these things, and some of them would look really cool. The ones that had the coolest designs were always my favorite. I It had a couple of really cool ticket designs for like Atlanta Hawks games.
Yeah.
University of Tennessee football games always had like really unique designs on them. I have like a shoebox full of like tickets I went to of games when I was a kid. And part of me really wishes I still had them now, like as an adult, for the games I go to as an adult. But all I have are screenshots. I do have a screenshot of the first Saints game in New Orleans I went to. That does still exist on my phone, and that's the closest thing I'm going to get.
Okay. I guess you can print it out.
I can. Would it have the same luster to it?
No.
I don't think so. No. Probably not. One of those things that advancements in technology will eventually take away from us.
Really quickly, Elijah, what's the time of the tip-off today?
It'll be 9:41. That is my expectation.
Let's see.
And if I'm wrong, we could verbally flog me tomorrow. But until then, Tyler Head and Jack Felch for the Extra Point. They're next. We'll talk to you again tomorrow morning.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Lexington Health has been named a meritorious hospital by the American College of Surgeons for achieving exceptional surgical patient outcomes. Find world-class surgical care close to home. Visit Lex Health.